All right, we're back doing it once again, covering the divisions, going over the schedules, the regions, and what we're doing is we're comparing last year's Max Preps rankings up against the teams and their schedules this year to get kind of an estimate of what Max Preps would have their schedules going, as well as, you know, how the teams are going and all that other stuff. And it's been exciting. We've had some interesting regions so far. We've covered the East Sky. We've covered, you know, some of these the 3As, the 3A South, which was a brutal one.
Yes.
You know, some 2A San Pedro, your 2A what is it?
The Salt.
The Salt, yeah. And then you had the Central.
3A
right?
Central.
3A Central. Wow, just region after region, this has been
so this will be the last 4A, though, right?
This is the last 4A that we're doing. And what is it? It's the Kino. Probably the most popular 4A division in Southern Arizona, hands down. So let's start upsetting people real quick.
I was going to say, I heard a lot about this region. So, you know, I'm new to it, but I predict all the teams are going to go 10-0.
I think this is actually the first time I'm going to be able to cover the whole region. And what a region it is, what they've done, just so people know, is they've actually compiled all the stronger 4A teams together, and they made the Kino. They put all the ones that needed some development and obviously some building time or whatnot into the Gila, which is the one that we have already recently covered on the Southern Arizona aspect. But let's not hesitate anymore. We're going to jump right into it. And why not jump into it with the only 4A team in Southern Arizona that made the playoffs last year, which was CDO. And they came in ranked 40th. Now, they're going to be starting off their season with no easy feat, going up against the region, the East Sky region, I think that is what they're in, right?
Yes.
Eastmark. Eastmark ranked number 14th. Then they're going on the trip up to Bradshaw Mountain, who was ranked 44th. Then they played Desert View at 86. Then they're at Amphi 178. Then they're at Marana, the only 5A team that made it out of our Southern Arizona last year, who's ranked 51. Then they have a bye, and then they get into that region play, which is where all the magic happens. They're going to have at Catalina Foothills ranked 92, Mica Mountain ranked 87th, at Pueblo 126, Saguaro 120, and then Walden Grove to finish it up at 75th. And right now, Max Preps got Canyon del Oro ranked 9, or actually going 9-1 in the season, and with a pretty dominant schedule. I mean, a lot of the ones on this region are. What do you think? 9-1?
If not really close to it, I actually might even say 8-2. There's a couple of games in there that could kind of flip things around. You know, you got the Mica Mountain game. That's going to be a good game.
I think that's a great one.
You got the opening week against Eastmark. And then I'm really interested to see how Marana fares against Canyon del Oro. You know, you got your 2 playoff teams there, Southern Arizona. Could Marana possibly sneak out a win? They're going to be at home. So
right.
I would give it, I do like the 9-1, but I'm going to go 1 down, and I'm going to say 8-2 on the year.
I'm going to be the ugly guy in the room. I'm going to actually probably say 7-3.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to start fights, I guess. Somebody's going to slap me with a green, Canyon del Oro doll or something like that, pop me in the head with their Hawaiian shirts. I don't know. I'm saying 7-3, and I don't mean that rudely. Actually, I mean it as a compliment due to the region that they're in. I think it's hard to beat teams like you got, like just to start it off, Eastmark, Bradshaw Mountain. This is not an easy schedule. It's back to back to back. And the beautiful part is it's sharpening our teams in Southern Arizona to get ready for the playoffs. So I'm interested to see how many of the teams in this region will actually make the playoffs. So it'll be definitely interesting to see there. So I'm going with a 7-3 because there might be some upsets in here that you need to watch out for.
Okay.
Catalina Foothills comes in, no slouch as well, ranked 92. They start off against your team at Combs, which is ranked 66. Then they have Yuma Catholic. Then they're on the road down south to Buena against 103. They're at Push Ridge, which is ranked 31st. Then they have Tucson High, ranked 138. Saguaro, I apologize, at 120. CDO, the one we just talked about, at 40. Their bye week comes in. Then they have Walden Grove at 75. Then they're at Pueblo at 126, and Micah Mountain at 87th. Max Preps got them sitting at a 4-6 season. What do you think there?
I'm actually going to give them I'm going to go a little bit higher. I'm going to go possibly a 6-4.
6-4.
6-4.
So who are your two pickup games?
I would probably say that first game against Combs.
Okay.
There, big question mark. We talked about that when we covered them. And then the other one would probably be the Push Ridge game. You got Push Ridge as another team. It's a 3A team. Lost a lot of players. Could they possibly sneak out that one? Those would be two games I think they could possibly flip into their favor. And I would say probably that Walden Grove might be a real good matchup there as well. Mm-hmm. But I'd say Combs and Push Ridge would be two games where.
You know what? Actually, you bring up a good, valid point on that, man. Actually, I applaud you on that one. And because you said that, I was probably going to say, maybe 5-5, but with what you're saying, I might have to applaud you and say I'll go with you and say 6-4 because of those games. Mm-hmm. Interesting. I'm really kind of interested to see how Buena does, which could make him go back down the other way.
Exactly.
As well as Tucson High. Tucson High's got a lot going on with their situation over there as well. So there's a lot of sleepers in here, as well as there's a lot of ones that they could be the ones who are getting slept on. Exactly. So, definitely some coin flips in here. But, I'll give you the 6-4. Let's see what's going on with it.
All right.
I 500 par.
Okay.
I think the 500. And once again, here's the funny part is because we're gonna sit here and we're gonna say things like a 5-5 season or like 7-3, like I just mentioned on a team that like all these parents are like, yeah, my kid could probably. Their team's gonna go 9-1 or 10-0. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And what they're not understanding is that this is actually a solid region compared to years in past. It's not that same kind of play.
No.
So going 500 and stuff like that, it's actually a lot harder than people think.
Yeah.
With these schedules, which I'm really excited to see that part of this all come into perspective.
And we talked about like how when you switch up in your regions, how it can affect a team, whether you're moving up, moving down, or moving into a completely different region. We talked about Mesquite, a team who was constantly a playoff team, move up for 1 year, and they have a losing record. I believe they finished 3-7 last year. Right. And so, it's those things. Now you have this core of Southern Arizona teams that are the top tier here in the 4A division. And so you're going to see a lot of schedules that, parents are probably not expecting, depending on what region they were in previous years. But like I said, I really like this region right here. And it's going to be tough.
And the other thing is like you take, say, for instance, a team that was 7-3 last year, and now we're saying 5-5, and people think of it as a negative, but they're not sitting there thinking about the level of competition. Like it's like, wait, you're not playing, these teams like for instance, you're not playing some of these teams in Southern Arizona that like you could have circled 3 weeks before you ever played them. Yeah. So you're playing a lot more coin flipping games. So when you get into these kind of like, hey, look, I don't think they'll go 8-2 or a 7-3. There might be a 5-5 or, it's like it's still a compliment because the strength of schedule that you're playing is on a whole nother plateau.
And with Catfoot, they have the second toughest schedule in this region. So, that should say something. And, for us to give them 2 wins, possibly extra from what Max Preps is like, it would definitely be a great season for them.
Well, the push off, there's when you say they got the second strength of schedule, the second highest strength of schedule, when we're talking about highest strength of schedule, we're talking by mere numbers because like when what we do is to find our strength of schedules, just so you're aware of this, is we take all those the rankings of each team that they're playing, compile it into a number, and that becomes the strength of schedule. So if you have, ranked 48th or whatever team, and so on and so on, you add all those teams together, that gives me the strength of schedule, at least the way I do it. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about, for instance, like the difference between Catalina Foothills and Walden Grove is 4 points. Yep. Like, it's not like these are not sleeper schedules. Mm-hmm. Actually, the strongest one that we have is actually going to be the next team, Micah Mountain. Micah Mountain comes in ranked 87th. They're going to start off their season at Post and Butte, which is a game that we're going to try and head up and actually address that game. So that might be one of the games we stream. Guys, yes. I'm telling you, we've been talking about it on some of the shows. We're trying to be streaming some of these games. So make sure that you follow, subscribe to the page. That way you get notified and you know what's going on or what games we're doing, and make sure that you're involved with it because, hey, we're trying to make it better in Southern Arizona. So buy in. That's pretty much what we're saying here. So anyways, starting off the Micah Mountain season, they're coming out. They're ranked number 87th. They go up against the Post and Butte, ranked at number 48, and that'll be up there at Post and Butte. Then they got Mesquite, who's the team that we talked about that moved down.
Yep.
So they're once again, you got now Mesquite, who's ranked 109, playing against the 87 team. A big game for the east side of obviously Tucson is going to be that Micah Mountain versus Sabino game. Sabino comes in ranked at 50. You have Sunnyside, which that'll be at Sunnyside. So Micah Mountain playing a 5A school here. They were ranked 85th. Then they play Casa Grande, which, I mean,
that's going to be a tough one too.
That's a tough one too. I mean, no breaks. Ranked 59th. Then you have at Pueblo, who's 126th. Then at CDO, 40th. Saguaro ranked 120th. Walden Grove at 75th, and Catalina Foothills ranked 92. And Max Prep's got Micah Mountain ranked or going 4 and 6. What do you think there?
Oh man, this probably has to be one of the toughest ones to decide right here.
These are good.
4 and 6. I do not see Micah Mountain as a 4 and 6 team, but looking at their schedule, I would say.
Who do you give it to?
I'm gonna say around 500.
Okay.
Maybe 6 and 4.
People sleeping on them.
Yeah, because like I said, I don't believe that their ranking tells what type of team. Their first year they came out.
Schedule,
bro. The first year, they played some. I think even 6A teams last year. It was their first real year. Playing a full season in 4A. So with this one, I mean, the first 5 games are gonna dictate your season, if you think about it. Before you even really get into your region matchups, is okay. Can you go out and beat Post and Butte at Post and Butte? Mesquite is Mesquite going to be the 4A team? The dominant force,
or the 5A team that dropped off.
Sabino, we know what type of 3A team Sabino is. One of the top in the state. Then, another great close matchup at Sunnyside, and then Casa Grande. If they could weather the storm, and I'd say go 2 and 3 or 3 and 2, somewhere around there.
This is ugly.
That's going to dictate what type of season. I'm going to say that they're going to go 5 and 5 at best, 6 and 4. And the reason is I think they can possibly knock off Sabino. Just being the bigger program and having the more depth on their team. I could possibly see them knocking off Sunnyside, and I know I'm going to get a lot of heat from that one.
I think you're getting more heat from the Sabino one.
Yeah, probably because but at the same time is what one of the biggest questions I always have for Sabino is that line going to be the same as they were? And as you get into I saw some of the Micah Mountain players out at a couple of 7-on-7s, and they got some good corners over there. They got some great defensive presence over there. But
so it's just a battle. I mean, it's almost it's you know what, I hate to sound like the game that I would circle around saying this is the one that you're not going to win is probably Casa Grande.
Okay.
But other than that, I mean, other than that, like, hey, go for it.
Yeah.
I'm not. It's flipping coins, man. Because I mean, I hate to sound like I think Casa Grande's a lot stronger than the South is actually ready for Southern Arizona. I don't think like they're ready for it. I think they might actually be. This is a little shot in the dark for people. I think they might even take the Southern the region.
Oh yeah, because they're now in the South. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I might have Casa Grande beating the 5A region. So, alert spoiler there. But, like, when you look at this and you're like, good God, like Micah Mountain upset CDO last year. Boom, knocked them. Mm-hmm. You look at, like, Sunnyside, I can see them taking Sunnyside. Now, I can see the game at Sabino going both ways. They're both talented. Mesquite, like what you're saying, like who are they? Post and Butte. I mean, Post and Butte might be my second team that I might go, okay, look, they might not get that one. I mean, especially game one, that might be the hard part that in their favor.
You're always expecting a lot of, a lot of turnovers.
Right.
It's going to be a lot of learning curves for both teams.
If they can take that Post and Butte game that we might cover, oh dear Lord, shoot it out! Like this could be. I mean, I still think Micah Mountain is playoff or like driven.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think what you're going to see is a lot of teams in 4A this season going 5-5, 6-4, making it to the playoffs. Don't get upset with it. It's just is what it is. There's a lot of teams in here that I could see going both ways, but it's such a strong strength of schedule.
And if you think about it, you go up, north to Phoenix, the Phoenix areas. I mean, you get into those 6A teams where they're 3-7, 4-6, and they're still making it. I mean, I know it's deals with the open playoff tournament, and there's a difference there, but at the same time, it's like some of those teams play such strong schedules.
I just don't see with them actually putting teams into like strong, weak regions and stuff like that kind of thing. I think what you're going to see is these dominant strength of schedules. And this is, ladies and gentlemen, I keep talking about it. Strength of schedule is going to be such a key factor this season. Pay attention. I'm telling you right now, cheer on teams when cheer to win, and then when you cheer them on to win.
Yeah,
like you're gonna want all these teams that you're playing to win each week, except for when they play you.
Especially, we talked about Post and Butte, Casa Grande. I would even say Sabino. They're going to be teams that are going to put up a lot of wins this year.
Yep.
If you can somehow knock them off.
Yep.
Cheer them on the rest of the season because it's going to only help you guys.
Yep, absolutely. And that's what's going to happen on when we come into the playoffs. Trust me, guys. I'm telling you right now, trust me. Like, don't get crazy if you start out and it kind of looks rocky. The strength of schedule is what's going to set you free. So let's get over to Pueblo. Pueblo comes into 126th ranking. They're going to start off their season at Nogales, 165. Then they're going to play Vista Grande, who we've talked about in prior shows. I apologize. At 111 or 118. We're going to try and check that show out too.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be another one we're going to try to check out.
Yeah.
You got Pueblo versus Choya, who was ranked 197th. You got Empire next up at 180. Then you're playing at Buena, who's ranked 103. Then you got the bye there. Then you start off with Micah Mountain getting into that region play ranked at 87th. Then you're at Walden Grove, ranked 75th. CDO or Canyon del Oro at 40. Catalina Foothills at 92. And Saguaro 120. And what they have currently is Pueblo set up to be finishing off their season at 3-7. Where do you think that's going to go?
I think that it's actually pretty accurate, honestly, on my end, especially when you get into the region play. I would say, they probably, if you look at it, they got probably picking up a win against Nogales, Choya, and then Empire.
Right.
I would say if I do give them one more game, it would possibly come down to their last game of the season against Saguaro.
Definitely a big one.
Which could be a good one. But 3-7, 4-6 is definitely where I kind of have them, especially, their first 5 games outside of the Vista Grande game and the Buena game. Those are their chances to pick up a lot of those victories.
Yeah.
But you know what? I will not sit there and say that they couldn't beat Vista Grande.
Right.
Like I said,
I think you got to circle that one and Saguaro as the two
as the
nitty-gritty
two.
games.
Absolutely. So if they could do that there, 3-7, 4-6, I'm going to go somewhere around there.
And you know what? They played Micah Mountain well last year. I think what it is just, how well is the team going to come together, so on and so on. Once again, guys, we're saying like, hey, look, we're like, oh, they might go 4-6, and people are like, they're rolling in their graves pretty much. Guys, this is not an easy schedule. This is a tough schedule for Pueblo. They're actually coming in ranked the lowest seed in this region. So you got to look at that and say, hey, look, if you're looking at all these other teams, how do you move up? They're in a good situation. They got a great coaching staff over there. They got a lot of the community backs them and everything like that.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of Pueblos, and I'm just saying this. Don't count them out, guys. Don't shut them if they're a sub 500 team. Look at what they're playing. You got to respect it. And that's another thing, because neck and neck, who they're going to play is the team that we talked about, or that program that we talked about last. It's going to come down, I think, between Pueblo and Saguaro, and I just got to see where both those teams lie.
Absolutely.
Things could change. Don't get me wrong. Like, obviously, everything could change here. We're just kind of guessing as we go through all this. But let's talk about Saguaro. So Pueblo was 126. We go over to Saguaro's schedule. They're currently ranked 120th coming into the schedule. They start off their season playing Sabino, ranked 50. Northwest Christian, ranked 56. Then they're at Douglas, ranked 168. Then they play Choya, 197. Then they have Ironwood Ridge, 155. Then they're at Catalina Foothills, 92. At Walden Grove, 75. They have their bye. Then they're at Micah Mountain, 87. Then they're at Canyon del Oro, which is ranked 40th. And then they have the game that we had spoke about, 126. Now, Max Preps got Saguaro finishing the season at 4-6. Where are you at there?
I like it. I think 4-6 is where I would probably have them. Like I said, coming down to that last game against Pueblo could drop them to 3-7.
Right.
But another team with a tough schedule, and it all comes into this region. You see, we talk about the previous teams. The CDOs, Catfoot, and Micah Mountain, and then you even throw Walden Grove in there. Those are going to be 4 tough matchups,
right.
And then the rest of the season is kind of like, okay, we'll see how it goes. I think they could pick up wins against Douglas, Choya, Ironwood Ridge. And outside of that, probably Pueblo would be your last bet. So 3-7, 4-6 is where I'm going to get them.
I'm probably going to agree with you on here. I'd say don't sleep on Ironwood Ridge. We don't know who they are once again. So they're even though I could probably sit there and say the Power 4 in this region, which is going to be Catalina Foothills, Walden Grove, Micah Mountain, is CDO, I'd still sit there and say, hey, look, you got to fight for that one with Pueblo. You're going to have to fight when it comes to Douglas. You're going to have to fight with Sabino and Ironwood Ridge. But it's just not an easy schedule.
It's tough.
Tough. And then to finish off the region, we're going to go over and speak about Walden Grove. Walden Grove comes in ranked 75th in the region, or actually in the state. They're going to go up against Northwest Christian at 56th. Arcadia, one of your teams that we talked about, ranked 69th. See, and this is one thing that's interesting, too. You see a lot in this region playing against your East Sky region.
Yes. Yep.
And what people aren't looking at is this is a power region here versus their power region as well. So the more we can do against, or these regions play against each other, they're helping each other out.
Yep.
Or they're tearing each other down.
Well, it depends, it depends on how successful those other programs are going to be throughout the course of the season. So, yeah, you definitely want to win your region. That's always goal number one. But at the same time, do you want that team that you beat to help you by winning more? Then yeah, you gotta possibly root for them all the way through. So
push.
Gotta push it, man. Gotta push it.
So then after Arcadia, they're going to have their bye. Then they go up against Cienega, ranked 73rd. Desert View, ranked 86th. And Mountain View, ranked 90th. They'll be on a trip on that one. Then they're up against Saguaro at 120th. Then Pueblo, 126th. Then they take a trip to Catfoot at 92. At Mica Mountain, 87th. And at CDO, ranked 40th. So Max Prep's got Walden Grove sitting at a 6-4. Where you at on that one?
Oh man, that's going to probably be the toughest one right there. Is what can Walden Grove, how they're going to play against Catfoot, how they're going to play against Mica Mountain, and even I'd say against Cienega and possibly Desert View. Though 6-4, I like it for Walden Grove. Do I think that it might go that way? I'd say probably a 5-5.
You know what, man?
Somewhere around there, because there's some games that can be toss-ups. Arcadia is another team that they're bringing back some good pieces.
So ugly.
But at the same time, they're a team that can be beat. And they're going to be in that East Sky, and it's like, okay, how much are they going to be able to withstand there?
I'm looking at the first 5 of this schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
tough. You're playing what, 90 or higher on your rankings there?
Like, you look at it, right? And like Walden Grove, like we mentioned, 75th, right? And then you're starting off with Northwest Christian, 56. Arcadia, 69. Like, according to Max Prep, there's 2 L's you're starting off with.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go over to Cienega. That's not an easy task at all. I mean, you're playing up at a 5A. And not only do you play 5A once, you go up and you play Desert View. So you're back-to-back. And then you play Mountain View, which is 3 5As in a row.
Yes.
Walden Grove, you're just trying to move up to 5A. What's going on? And that's before you get into – it's almost like you got this hill and a little valley kind of in between it, because you got the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games, right, that are solid pretty much. And then you dip into this Saguaro Pueblo, which is not anything to laugh about anyways, kind of valley. And then it's like, boom, you're right up into the heart of your own region. My thing, here's what I'm going to say, all right? I'm going to go with you on the 5-5, but here's my thing for this region, everybody. Health.
Yeah.
Week to week to week, we are playing stronger schedules. I want to know how well these kids, these programs stay up health-wise. Will you see coaches pulling players if they get like games kind of like taken away or whatever the case? I mean, there's really not those healing games.
Mm-mm.
One thing that we're also not seeing in these regions right now is the healing games. Like when you would go up and play a team that you knew that you were dominant against, you could rest some of those players, or they would go out and play a couple quarters or whatever the case might be, and then sit on the bench. That's not going to be the case
for nobody.
So it's week to week to week. I hope all your kids are staying like healthy, safe, all that stuff. Injuries, stuff like that, I'm hoping don't plague some of these teams. That's going to be the big thing. And once again, I think these schedules are prepping us to be ready for playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to just be strong with it. Here's that part that you hate. I'm going to drop it on you.
I'm ready for it.
All right, who's your team?
I mean, until somebody dethrones them, I'm going to have to go with Canyon de Oro.
Okay.
I always like what they bring back each and every year. I've got to see them the past 2 seasons since I've started doing coverage. I got to see them against Casa Grande, and then I even watched one playoff game. It might have been the Snowflake game, and they're a tough team. And I like what their coaching staff each and every week each and every year they bring back. And somehow plug these kids in to be successful.
Right.
So until somebody dethrones them, I'm going to go with CDO.
Well, I'm going to argue with you. I'll go with Mica Mountain. Give me Mica Mountain. You got Pat Nugent, who coached Coach Peace. He was so, you know, and then the dominance of Micah Mountain last season when they played CDO. I don't know if that was a fluke or not. I'll take it either way because all those kids pretty much from Micah Mountain are returning. I don't think there's many kids that left. So this is my year of Micah Mountain taking over the Kino region. But other than that, that's it for our 4A. We're wrapping it up. And once again, make sure you're following us because we will be posting up what games we'll be streaming and everything else. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Was there anything else?
No, I think we're getting ready for 5A.
All right, let's get out of here.